Alright, welcome to JBoss's Soapbox, Episode 1, Part 4 of Guns. Alright, I'm doing this as we go along, so I don't know how many parts we're gonna have. Alright, I gotta start the timer. Alright, so, where did I leave off? Going off with, how not as effective silencers actually are. Gotta look where I had to find it. Here it is. Okay, so for a 308 rifle with supersonic ammunition, listen, most ammunition is supersonic nowadays, and a silencer, there is generally only about a 10 or 12 decibel reduction in noise levels. With subsonic ammunition, 308 rifles measured between 121 and 137 decibels. Now remember, even most regular ammunition is supersonic, meaning that they make a sonic boom, which is that crack or snap you hear when they whiz by. So, subsonic rounds, they are available commercially, but they're a lot more expensive generally, and also a lot more harder to find. Well, not exactly hard to find, but there's just less of them. Crap, lost my place. Okay, and with OSHA's recommended daily limits to exposures of 115 decibels or higher is less than 15 minutes a day. So a regular silenced rifle, like a regular silenced 308 rifle, is about as loud as sandblasting or a rock concert. At long ranges and in crowded places, like the ranges of what a sniper would use, this might be useful. But at close ranges, there's no real point. It just makes the gun a lot bigger and a lot harder to conceal because that giant silencer is usually really huge. Movies and video games that show a silenced bullet killing someone instantly is complete BS for multiple reasons. Silenced guns are still really loud, as I've said, and with subsonic ammunition, their reduced speeds generally means that they have a lot less energy, and they don't necessarily kill instantly unless one is accurate or lucky enough to hit a major artery or vein or the head. And those are really hard targets to hit. Okay, there are a couple exceptions. A couple truly silent pistols around, though I'll focus on only one at the minute, being the newest of them, still pretty old. It's called the MSP. It's an acronym for a Russian phrase. I don't speak Russian, so I can't say it for you. Although I speak German, and I would like to learn Russian because it sounds like an interesting language. But anyway, it is a Russian espionage pistol developed in 1972 and is used primarily for hyper-clandestine missions like real-life Splinter Cell missions, I would assume. However, the average citizen, even a Russian citizen, probably needn't worry. Reason being, because it's a very specialized pistol, very rare, never seen one on sale on the internet before. It's only a two-shot Derringer style gun, so that it's more common to some handguns, that just normal handguns, and there are a bunch of two-shot Derringers out there. It uses a very specialized, meaning very expensive and very hard to find ammunition that, although is very quiet, means the gun can only be used at very short ranges because the muzzle velocity of the bullet is only about 650 feet per second or 450 miles an hour, which is way below even the vast majority of conventional subsonic rounds, which are generally just barely below the speed of sound purely to get rid of the sonic boom, which speed of sound is 1,100 feet per second or 760 miles per hour at sea level. The average cruising speed of a passenger jetliner is in the 500 to 600 mile per hour range. So basically, that MSP, its bullets will lose in a race against a commercial jetliner. That being said, some people might want NFA weapons, particularly machine guns, to be banned, because there is less of a need for them. Yes, I do agree, there is less of a need for them. But just because we have less of a need for them doesn't mean that they should be outright banned. And just because a device was originally created for a specific purpose doesn't generally mean that it shouldn't be banned to own. Machine guns are meant for killing people. I, as a future recreational shooter, however, and there are a lot of recreational shooters out there, would use them for a different purpose. I lost my place again. Okay. For fun, and possibly just for collection, for the use as a collecting item. People like to collect stamps. They're not going to use them. People like to collect knives. They're not going to use them. People like to collect guns. They're not going to use them. Or they're going to actually use the guns, but as a target practice, just for fun. And I can also argue conversely that even the most benign devices like a jacket or a pen can be easily used to kill. Virtually everything around us can be used to kill someone if you are resourceful enough, yet even the most dangerous items that were used to kill loads of people can be used for more benign purposes. Enriched uranium, for example, is used in nukes. But it's not commercially banned because we have nuclear power plants. And so basically, what that boils down to is that it's not what the device was originally intended to do, it's how you use it. It's really what it boils down to. Now, for the stats of my ideologies, this is primarily going for assault weapons. And this is primarily going for assault weapons now. Assault weapon actually is just an invented term. In the firearm lexicon, there is no such thing as an assault weapon. The closest relative is the assault rifle, which is a machine gun or select fire rifle, i.e. a gun that can do either semi-automatic or multiple round burst, like a 3-round burst, or fully automatic. You can choose between them with a little lever. That fires rifle cartridges. In most cases, assault weapons are cosmetically similar to military guns, i.e. they just look like one, so do airsoft guns, but are functionally identical and less powerful than hunting rifles. In 1994, before the federal assault weapons ban, you are 11 more times more likely to be beaten to death than to be killed by an assault weapon. In the first year after the ban was lifted, murders declined 3.6% and violent crime 1.7%. Nationally, assault weapons were used in 1.4% of crimes involving firearms and 0.25% of violent crimes before the enactment of any national or state assault weapons ban. The rate is less than 0.1% in many major urban areas, like San Antonio, Mobile, Nashville, etc. Even weapons misclassified as assault weapons, commonly in former federal and California assault weapons classifications, are used in less than 1% of all homicides. Police reports show that assault weapons are a non-problem. For example, in California, for Los Angeles in 1998, of the 538 documented gun incidents, only 1 involved an assault weapon. So that's 0.2% of them. In San Francisco in 98, only 2.2% confiscated weapons were assault weapons. In San Diego between 1988 and 1990, only 0.3% of confiscated weapons were assault weapons. On October 31st, 1998, S.C. Helsley, Assistant Director of the Department of Justice of Investigation and Enforcement Branch of California, publicly stated that, quote, I surveyed the firearms used in violent crimes, and assault-type firearms were the least of our worries, end quote. In Virginia, no surveyed inmates carried an assault weapon during the commission of their last crime, despite 20% admitting that they had owned such weapons. 20%! 1/5 of them. Nationwide, only 1.4% of recovered crime weapons are models covered under the 1994 assault weapons ban. Most assault weapons have no more firepower or killing capacity than the average hunting rifle and play a small overrole in violent crime. Which, I can give you even more numbers onto that. I can attest to this personally after researching these guns. Some of the more common hunting rifles are the .308, commonly available and common hunting rifle calibers are like the .308 Winchester, which has a muzzle energy of 3,400 joules, or the .30-06, which has a muzzle energy of 3,600 joules. What are the most common assault weapon calibers? The .223 Remington, which is usually used in ARs, which has a muzzle velocity of 1,800 joules, or the 7.62 by 39 millimeter, which is used in AKs mostly, has a marginally more higher muzzle energy of 2,000 joules. Obviously, there are a ridiculous amount of rifle calibers and other assault weapon calibers and hunting rifle calibers or even pistol calibers, but I'm just covering the basics strictly with this because there's such a bewildering amount of ammunition available, and I'm not even counting for more or less propellant put into the same cartridge or the materials or the shapes of the bullets. And going back to a lot of the facts primarily offered by Guy Smith, even the federal government agrees. The National Institute of Justice said in March 1999 that the weapons banned by this legislation, the 1994 federal assault weapons ban, since repealed, were used only rarely in gun crimes. Ah, there we go. Only 6% of criminals use anything classified, even incorrectly, as an assault weapon, though less than 2.5% claim to have actually used those firearms in committing crimes. Criminals are more than 5 times more likely to carry single-shot handguns than they are to carry assault weapons, where you have to reload after every single shot. Deputy Chief of Police Joseph Constance of Trenton, New Jersey, said in a state judiciary committee testimony in August of 1993, said that, quote, assault rifles have never been in use in law enforcement. I have been on this job for 25 years and haven't seen a drug dealer carry one. They're not used in crimes, and they are not used against police officers. End quote. Need I remind you that this was in 1993, likely around the time as nation's lawmakers were debating the assault weapons ban, which would mean that this time there should have been a dramatic market increase, or at least a chronically high amount of assault weapons cases reported by the police that would have caused their deliberation of such bans. Guess what? There weren't. My facts showed that I reported. Deputy Constance also said that, quote, since police started keeping statistics, we know now that assault weapons are and were used in an underwhelming 0.026 of 1% of crimes in New Jersey. That means that my officers are more likely to confront an escaped tiger from the local zoo than to encounter an assault rifle in the hands of a drug-crazed killer on the streets. End quote. And Guy Smith's thoughts, mine as well, on the issue are that assault weapons are large and unwieldy. Even misclassified handguns tend to be bigger than practical for concealed carry. Criminals, who incidentally tend to disregard concealed carry laws, are unlikely to carry assault weapons because of the fact that they go for something that is cheap and that is very small and concealable that they can put in their pocket or hoodie or whatever. Something that's small that they can put on themselves. You can't do that. And with most rifles and assault weapons, even if they were all still legal, they're still fairly expensive. The assault weapons wouldn't, like machine guns, now they're like, they can be up to $40,000+ because they're so rare and expensive. Well, hard to find. But even most rifles, like an AR, they can go well over $1,000. They won't do that. They won't go for that. They'll go for, the $50, $100 little handgun that's, maybe this big or whatever at most, or about that size that they just got off the street illegally from an illegal transaction. They're not going to go for assault weapons or whatever. And though I haven't addressed the following specifically, I decided to add them in to dispel further rumors of assault weapons. These are 4 myths that I got from Guy Smith's PDF. Myth 1. Assault weapons can be easily converted into machine guns. Facts. In U.S. Code Title 26, Subtitle E, Chapter 53, Subchapter B, Part 1, Section 5845, states that firearms can be readily removed are prohibited by are prohibited by federal law under the NFA Fact and stuff. A BATF test, as reported in the New York Times on April 3rd, 1989, stated that none of the firearms on the list of banned weapons can be readily converted. When Jimmy Trahin, a Los Angeles detective, spoke for his congressional testimony at the subcommittee on the Committee on the Judiciary of May 5th, 1989, the first session of the 101st Congress, stated that, quote, only 0.15% of over 4,000 weapons confiscated in Los Angeles in 1 year were converted, and only 0.3% had any evidence of an attempt to convert, end quote. I'm going to stop here because, as you know, in 2 seconds, that's going to ring. So, alright, I'm going to end this part here, and I will continue with my next part.